world of basketball wives. LA has just exploded, and this time it's not about love, money, or loyalty. It's about betrayal, revenge, and a secret so dark that fans can't stop talking. According to fresh whispers from inside the circle, Brandi has allegedly exposed Evelyn in a shocking twist that left everyone speechless. But before the dust could settle, Evelyn clapped back. And what she revealed about Brandi's past might just be the most scandalous confession in BBWLA history. Cameras were rolling, tempers were flaring, and the energy was nuclear. It all started during what was supposed to be a peaceful cast retreat. Champagne, laughs, and fake smiles, until Brandi stood up and dropped a bomb that shattered the calm. "You want to talk about being real, Evelyn? Then let's be real," she shouted across the table, voice shaking with rage. Gasps filled the room as Evelyn froze, her eyes narrowing, a dangerous calm taking over. "Be careful, Brandi," she warned. "You don't want me to tell them everything." Fans are calling it the most explosive face-off in the show's history. Social media's on fire, friendships are collapsing, and alliances are shifting. Because this time, it's not just drama, it's war. The sun was setting over a private resort in Malibu, where the cast of Basketball Wives LA had gathered for what production promised would be a healing weekend. The women arrived in designer athleisure, sunglasses bigger than their trust, and smiles that didn't quite reach their eyes. Everyone knew the tension between Brandi and Evelyn had been brewing for months, but no one expected what was about to unfold. At first, it was calm. There were yoga mats on the lawn, matcha smoothies on silver trays, and cameras catching every fake laugh. But behind Brandi's perfectly calm demeanor, something was burning. She'd been quiet all season, watching, listening, collecting receipts. Because she'd heard things. Rumors about Evelyn's new business deal, which allegedly wasn't about business at all. During a group lunch, producers asked the ladies to share what they were grateful for. Evelyn, ever the queen of composure, smiled and said, "I'm grateful for growth, and for letting go of toxic people who pretend to be friends." Her eyes flicked toward Brandi as she sipped her mimosa. That was the spark. Brandi set her glass down slowly. "Oh, we're doing that today," she said, her tone sweet but sharp. Malaysia's eyes widened. Brooke whispered, "Oh no, not again." But it was already too late. Brandi turned toward Evelyn. "You want to talk about toxic? Let's talk about how you've been lying to everybody, acting like you're so happy and healed, when really you've been creeping around with someone you swore you'd never touch." The entire table froze. Evelyn's smile vanished. "Excuse me?" she said, her voice low and dangerous. Brandi leaned in, her voice steady but dripping with venom. "You heard me. Should I say his name? Or are we still pretending?" Evelyn blinked slowly. "If you're implying something, just say it. Don't hide behind your little hints," Brandi smirked. "Fine, you want to play bold? Let's be bold. How about you tell everyone why you've been seeing Lance behind your best friend's back?" The gasps around the table were instant. Brooke almost dropped her drink. Malaysia covered her mouth. Even the producers who were used to chaos looked stunned. Evelyn's face hardened. "You are lying," she snapped. "That's a straight-up lie," Brandi shrugged. "Lie? Then explain the photos. Explain the messages. Don't act brand new now that it's out there." The tension was so thick you could cut it with a diamond nail. Evelyn stood up, her chair screeching. "You don't know what you're talking about, Brandi. You've always been jealous because you can't keep a man long enough for anyone to care." Brandi slammed her napkin down. "At least I don't steal someone else's?" And just like that, the calm retreat turned into a battlefield. Cameras caught it all. Evelyn pacing, pointing fingers, Brandi shouting, "You're fake! Everything about you is fake." Producers tried to step in, but the shouting drowned out everything. Even the other women were torn, some siding with Brandi, others whispering that Evelyn couldn't possibly do something like that. Later, in her confessional, Brandi said through clenched teeth, "Evelyn's been playing this role for years, the victim, the peacemaker, the perfect one. But people forget I was around when she started. I know the real her, and I'm done keeping her secrets." Meanwhile, Evelyn's confessional was pure fury. Brandi doesn't know when to shut up. She's desperate for attention. She wants to use my name for a storyline, but she's about to regret it. Because if I open my mouth, her whole world's gonna fall apart. Back at the villa that night, whispers filled the air. Some of the girls gathered in the lounge, dissecting the argument like detectives. Malaysia said softly, "If those rumors are true, this is about to get ugly." Brooke shook her head. No, this is already ugly. Brandi stayed in her room, pacing, phone in hand, scrolling through her evidence. In another room, Evelyn was calling her lawyer, furious, pacing in circles, muttering, "She wants to play dirty? Let's play dirty." The next morning, Evelyn showed up to breakfast calm, too calm. The storm wasn't over. It was just beginning. She sat across from Brandi and smiled sweetly. "You had a lot to say last night," she said. "So let's tell your truth now." Brandi froze. The table went silent. Evelyn leaned forward, her voice dripping with poison. "You want to expose people? Let's expose you." And just like that, the game flipped. The morning sun over Malibu looked peaceful, but inside the villa, tension brewed like a thunderstorm ready to strike. The cameras rolled as the cast sat for breakfast, still reeling from Brandi's explosive accusation the night before. The atmosphere was eerily calm, no yelling, no drama. Yet, but the quiet wasn't peace. It was the silence before the fire. Evelyn walked in, wearing oversized shades, a calm smirk playing on her lips. She greeted everyone with a soft, "Good morning," but her tone carried venom. The women exchanged glances. They knew that look. Evelyn wasn't done. She was loaded and ready. Brandi sat at the far end of the table, scrolling through her phone, pretending not to care. But everyone could see her hands trembling slightly. She knew Evelyn wasn't the type to take an attack lying down. Evelyn had built her reputation on knowing exactly when and where to strike. "Brandi," Evelyn began, her voice deceptively soft. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said yesterday. You called me fake. Said I've been creeping around. Said I've been lying." She paused, letting the air thicken. "But if we're talking about lies, maybe we should talk about yours." Brooke leaned forward. "Oh no," she whispered. Malaysia's eyes darted toward the producers. The tension was suffocating. Brandi laughed nervously. "Girl, don't start something you can't finish." Evelyn smiled, slow, deliberate. "Oh, I'm not starting anything. I'm just finishing what you started." The room fell dead silent. Then Evelyn dropped her bomb. "Tell everyone why you had to leave Atlanta 2 years ago," she said coldly. Brandi froze. The color drained from her face. "What?" she whispered. Evelyn's voice grew sharper. "You heard me. You want to talk about receipts? I've got mine. I've got papers. You think you can expose me? Let's remind everyone why you suddenly moved back to LA without telling anyone." The women looked at each other, whispering. Brooke asked, "Wait, what's she talking about?" Evelyn turned toward her, eyes gleaming. "I'm talking about how Brandi was involved in a situation that could have ruined everything. Not just her career, but her family. Not just her career, but her family." Brandi slammed her glass down. "You better watch what you're saying." Evelyn stood up, voice rising. "No, you better watch. You've been painting me as the villain, but the truth is, you've got skeletons so deep even the producers didn't know about them." The room exploded into chaos. Brooke covered her mouth. Malaysia tried to calm them, but the shouting was unstoppable. Brandi's voice cracked. "You don't know what you're talking about." Evelyn leaned in, pointing a manicured finger right in Brandi's face. "Oh, I know exactly what I'm talking about. You remember a man named Marcus?" "Because I do." Gasps filled the air. Brandi's eyes darted around the room, panicked. "Don't you dare bring him into this," she shouted. Evelyn smirked. "Why not? You brought up my business. So let's talk about yours. Let's talk about how you and Marcus were together when you found out he was already married. To your cousin." The table exploded in shock. Malaysia dropped her fork. Brooke covered her face. "Girl, what?" Brooke yelled. "You can't be serious." Brandi's voice broke. "That's not true. You're twisting everything." Evelyn's tone was merciless. "Twisting? Or telling the truth you've been hiding for years? Because I've seen the receipts, text messages, photos, everything. You want to talk about secrets? Yours destroyed a whole family." Brandi stood up, tears forming in her eyes. "You're disgusting, Evelyn. You don't know what that did to me." Evelyn shot back. "Oh, I know exactly what it did to you. That's why you're so bitter now. You want everyone else to look dirty so you can feel clean." The producers stepped in, trying to cool things down. But neither woman was backing off. Brandi shouted, "You're evil!" "I came here to be real, to speak my truth, not to relive my trauma on camera." Evelyn crossed her arms. "Then maybe you shouldn't have thrown the first stone." The tension was unbearable. Malaysia tried to mediate. "Ladies, stop. This isn't worth it. Both of y'all are bleeding in front of the world right now. Just stop." But Evelyn wasn't done. She started this war in Malaysia. I'm just ending it. Brandi stormed out, slamming the door so hard the sound echoed through the villa. Cameras followed as she broke down outside, mascara streaking down her face. She went too far, Brandi cried. That part of my life almost broke me. She had no right. Inside, Evelyn sat back down, cold and composed. She should have thought about that before she tried to come for me. You don't throw shade if you can't stand in the dark. Later that night, Evelyn posted a cryptic message on her Instagram story. Keep my name out your mouth before I remind the world who you really are. Fans were divided. Some praised Evelyn for defending herself. Others said she crossed every line imaginable. The internet was ablaze with hashtags like Diner Evelyn exposed Brandi and We're Team Brandi forever. Everyone had an opinion, but nobody had the full truth. Because while Brandi was licking her wounds, she was also plotting her next move. And what she was about to reveal next would turn the tables all over again. That night, after Evelyn's ruthless revelation, the villa was dead silent, except for the muffled sound of Brandi crying in her room. The cameras caught every shaky breath, every tear rolling down her cheek. She sat on the edge of her bed, makeup smudged, clutching her phone like it was a weapon. She thinks she can humiliate me and get away with it? Brandi muttered under her breath. No, not this time. I've kept her secrets too, and trust me, mine ain't the only ones worth hiding. By morning, Brandi was a different woman. Gone was the broken, tearful version from the night before. In her place stood someone calm, composed, but dangerous. She slipped on a silk robe, tied her hair back, and looked straight into the mirror. You wanted war, Evelyn? She whispered. Let's go. Production was already buzzing that morning. Rumors spread that Brandi had something big. The crew whispered about a mysterious file she'd sent to the producers overnight. Even Malaysia looked nervous. Whatever she's planning, she said in her confessional, it's about to blow the roof off this whole season. The ladies gathered for another group scene, a so-called mediation breakfast, but everyone knew it was going to end in chaos. Evelyn arrived first, head high, acting unbothered. Good morning, she said coolly, though her eyes betrayed tension. Brandi followed moments later, holding her phone like it was evidence. The host tried to ease them in. We're here to clear the air, not start another fire, he said gently. Evelyn folded her arms. That depends on who's still spreading lies. Brandi smiled faintly. Lies? That's cute coming from you. Don't start, Brandi. Oh, I'm not starting, Brandi said, voice steady. I'm finishing what you started. She reached into her phone and tapped the screen. Instantly, the speakers on set filled with the sound of a recorded conversation. Evelyn's voice echoed through the room. If anyone ever finds out what I did with Terrence, I'm done. My image is gone. The room froze. Brooke's mouth fell open. Malaysia whispered, Oh my God. The producer jumped out of his chair. Cut the audio, he shouted, but it was too late. The damage was done. Evelyn's eyes widened in shock. You recorded me? Are you crazy? Brandi stood tall. You wanted to expose me? Fine, but let's expose you too. Because while you were out here calling me a liar, you were busy hooking up with Terrence, your best friend's husband. Gasps echoed through the set like thunder. Evelyn jumped up, face flushed with rage. That's a lie. You edited that audio. Brandi snapped back. Don't play dumb, Evelyn. I was there when you cried about it. You told me everything. Evelyn's voice shook. You don't know what I was going through. My relationship was falling apart, Brandi interrupted. Then why ruin someone else's? The air crackled with fury. Evelyn's mask cracked for the first time all season. You're evil, she said, tears forming. You don't know what that did to me. I made a mistake, and you're turning it into entertainment. Brandi crossed her arms. No, baby. You made it entertainment when you brought my pain to TV. I'm just matching energy. The women around them looked stunned, torn between shock and pity. Malaysia rubbed her forehead. I can't do this no more. This ain't sisterhood. This is destruction. Evelyn sat back down, shaking her head. You think you won? You think people are going to side with you after this? You just showed the world who you really are. Vindictive, bitter, and desperate for relevance, Brandi shot back. And you just showed them who you are. Fake, manipulative, and terrified of the truth. The tension was unbearable. Neither woman blinked, their eyes locked like two lions in a cage. The silence that followed was louder than any argument. Later in her confessional, Brandi's tone was calm but chilling. I didn't want to do it. I really didn't, but she pushed me too far. She made me relive my worst pain in front of millions of people. I had to remind her. She's not untouchable. Meanwhile, Evelyn's confessional showed a different story. She was quiet, no makeup, eyes swollen from crying. I hate that it came to this, she said softly. I hate her for doing that to me, but maybe I deserve it. Maybe we both do. We let ego destroy everything. The fan reaction was explosive. Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube were flooded with hashtags, Shakshar Brandi vs Evelyn, Sharked Team Evelyn, I Brandi was right, and the biggest of all, Sharked Terrence Gate. The leaked audio clip spread like wildfire, with fans debating its authenticity. Some said Brandi crossed the line. Others called her a legend for standing her ground. But just when it seemed like the feud couldn't get worse, another twist emerged. A blogger released an anonymous tip claiming that both women were hiding something even deeper, something that could take them both down. In the teaser for the next episode, the narrator's voice teased, "Secrets are out. Lines have been crossed. But the truth? The truth hasn't even started yet." The camera cut to Brandi staring out a window, whispering, "If she thinks it's over, she's dead wrong." Then to Evelyn, gripping a glass of wine, muttering, "She better be ready, it's because I'm coming for everything." The war wasn't ending. It was only evolving. And just like that, one of the most explosive showdowns in Basketball Wives, LA history reached its breaking point, but not its end. Brandi's retaliation flipped the entire narrative, turning the hunter into the hunted and forcing everyone to question who was really telling the truth. Evelyn's image cracked under pressure, Brandi's revenge stunned even her closest friends, and the entire cast was left emotionally wrecked in the crossfire. The internet hasn't stopped buzzing. Fans are arguing, alliances are shifting, and the world can't decide who's the real villain. Was Evelyn's secret really that dark? Or did Brandi go too far trying to protect her own pain? Did Brandi finally get her justice, or did she cross a line she can't come back from? Every frame of this feud felt like a slow-motion explosion. Two women, once bonded by fame and loyalty, now standing on opposite sides of a battlefield built from broken trust. But one thing's certain, the fallout isn't over. Rumors are swirling about another sit-down, a tell-all special, and even more receipts waiting to drop. The question is, who will speak first, and who will survive the backlash? Now it's your turn. What do you think? Was Evelyn exposed, or did Brandi just play herself? Drop your thoughts below and tell us whose side you're on, Torture Team Brandi or Torture Team Evelyn. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a single twist from the most chaotic, addictive reality drama on TV. Because if there's one thing we've learned from this saga, in this world, secrets don't stay buried. They explode. Stay buried. They explode.